Hello, my name is Kip Neiman, and this is part 2 of my Fluent simulation. So we're going to pick up from the last point of the previous video. What I did in the previous video is I saved Fluent and closed Workbench. After you close Workbench, usually what I do after I've made a part of the simulation is I want to make a backup. So I have this folder with recorded example. When you save a Workbench simulation, there's generally two things that are created. First is this example simulation Workbench file, the WBPJ file, and this is what you would double click to reopen your simulation. And the second is this folders, which is just all the simulation folders. So if you need to add or change folders, we'll go into this example simulations _files folder. So what I'm going to do before reopening Fluent or reopening Workbench is I'm going to right click and zip this folder, just so I have a backup in case I need to go back a step. So I will reopen the Fluent Flow simulation. And one thing I forgot to mention in the last video is if you're not sure if you have Fluent on your computer or Workbench, usually what I do is I go down to the start bar and type Workbench. And this is usually where I first open Workbench from. I probably should have mentioned that in the last video. Anyway, so now we have our Workbench project schematic here. We finished the geometry, so now I'm going to right click on Mesh and click on Edit. So that's following the next steps of my slides. So now I'm going to wait for the Fluent meshing software to open. You can tell it's working and opening because in the lower left-hand corner it says starting meshing. And so usually meshing is a significant challenge in fluid flow simulations, but because I'm not terribly concerned about whether these results are good or not, I'm just going to use the default mesh settings. And so if you want to change the settings, you could like right click on this mesh and click insert, and there's all these different options here. I won't go into that right now. I'm just going to click generate and it'll use the default settings for the mesh. And so that's what this looks like. And then I'm going to close this. Close.